Today I fucked up by coming out of the closet on accident. I know TIFUs usually end poorly, but here's a positive one. I've, 21 male, known I'm bisexual for a couple of years now but intended to never tell anyone except my SOs. I just don't think it's necessary, and it's nobody's business but mine and my so. I was talking to my dad about my plans for the future and I told him I don't see myself getting married or starting a family. He asked me why, so I said, of all the people I've met I don't think any of them are worth my time. Female or male. I didn't think anything of it and I said it very comfortably. I continued talking and when I was finished he said, "So you kinda just dropped a big bombshell on me and you said it really nonchalantly." I asked what he meant and he said, "You said female or male. Are you bisexual or something?" And I just said, "Yeah, I didn't even realize I did that. I didn't mean to. I guess I just don't think it matters that much. Nothing to worry about." And he just agreed, said it's not something he would be worried about, and we moved on. I thought coming out would have gone a lot worse, because we are a conservative family, but he was chill. I think it's because I didn't make a very big deal out of it. Too long did not read. I came out to my dad via a slip of the tongue. He didn't care that much, but recognized the importance. I love my dad. I don't care if my kid's gay, straight, bi or anything else. However, there is a tiny part of me that thinks, would be nice to get a chance to be this cool when he come out. Good on your dad for the reaction. And no less for actually being engaged in the conversation enough to notice that small, or male, tidbit. Yeah, so I had a very similar experience when I showed my mom my Tinder bio. It didn't go well at all. Glad your story ended different than mine. Your dad is cool. If anyone ever tries coming out to me in some big way they're gonna be disappointed cause I'll basically react how your dad did, acknowledge it, shrug, and move on with conversation. Cool, like who you like. Also. Semantics, but is it really a fuck up if things end well? I know TIFUs usually end poorly, but here's a positive one. Yeah, most of them are stories about people fucking up. It's strange. On accident is incorrect. It's by accident. It would have gone right over my head. It sounded to me like you said, no friends, family, relationships, coworkers, or anyone, when you said, female or male, lol. 10 out of 10 dad, would highly recommend. TIFU by running for the hills during my first tsunami. I woke up suddenly to the loud warning alert today. Like most folks on the west coast this morning. I just saw, tsunami. My brain went, tsunami. I was dressed and almost running to my car in 2 minutes flat. No joke. I grabbed my dog and drove fast up the hill. I live by the beach, like I can hear the ocean at night close. I text everyone I know that lives by me, are you up the hill? Run. I'm freaking out. Also I'm still waking up from my morning panic alert. Feeling still asleep. I park and have a view of the shore. I'm waiting for the water apocalypse patiently. My friend is like, girl what? What? I'm like, a fucking volcano went off. Why isn't everyone running? Volcano. Pompeii. Another friend of texted back saying, the end is near. Making fun of my obvious panic. I check the local beach cams and everyone is surfing still. Everything is fine. I start to feel slightly stupid. I text my friend, am I crazy? And she is super sweet, no you're just super safe. She is a good friend. I go online, the warning just said be advised. Get away from the shore. I did y'all. It didn't say how big the waves would be, just that they would hit between 7:30 and 8 a.m. So I watch the beach webcam and I wait in my car looking at the ocean like a mile away. Waiting, biting my nails. 8 o'clock rolls around and I say okay, I guess I can go home now. When I get home the helicopters start cruising up the ocean shore. I hear them over the loudspeaker, tsunami warning, please exit the ocean. People should get away from the shore, tsunami is coming. This is the Orange County Sheriff's Department, blah blah blah. So I get back in my car. I drive up to a closer spot that's somewhere elevated and I wait another 30 minutes. Alone. No one is there. It was a designated tsunami spot too. And now I feel properly silly as absolutely no one in my town did that. In fact, everybody went to the beach, because they love the waves so much. I was watching the cameras and there was an influx of surfers, people trying to go surf the tsunami. There was a woman with a baby stroller right on the sand. God help us if a real dangerous tsunami actually hits, Californians are going to surf it. And WTF. And I'm not in Santa Cruz, and that seems to be the only place in California that was even moderately affected. I have never experienced a tsunami warning before living at the beach. But now I know the difference between the red tier, which basically is run for your life, and the orange tier, which was what we experienced this morning. Which was basically not a big deal. And from reading everyone's comments today, my understanding is the danger is more about the surge, not a giant CGI wave. I just needed to share my hilarious panic and fabulous friends that supported me through my morning drama. I'm super grateful we have a warning system, but I fear that if we have an actual emergency, people will not respond properly. Or at all. Too long did not read. I panicked and drove up the hill awaiting doom from the incoming tsunami alert. Making all my friend think I'm proper crazy. Anxiety comes out in many forms. Better safe than sorry. You're smart. Much better to be cautious. So many people die in disasters because they don't want to seem like they're overreacting. Nobody else is doing anything, so must be safe, right? No. I live in New Zealand, also coastal. Warnings aren't to be fucked with. You did the right thing. You made sure you were safe. It's very seldom a wall of water, just a massive surge of water. And it's very, very strong. I.e. knock you off your feet with less than knee-deep type thing. Yo, fuck those who laugh at you. You know what? That was a great training drill for you. Try to recall what slowed you down and correct it accordingly. For instance, I couldn't find my car keys right away because I didn't place them there where I normally would. One day, when a really tsunami hits, you will be again the first on top of the hill. Your dog is probably happy having such a caring person, and not someone who would just leave their pet behind. Having a sense for safety is nothing laughable. It's deeply rooted in us, it's what keeps you alive. I would have been running up that hill with you. I feel like the warning system needs to be reviewed if this is how it works, where orange is, probably fine, and red is, holy shit, it's imminent. Looking at the satellite footage of the volcano in Tonga exploding, you did the right thing. That was one hell of a bang, and the island itself was inundated with water. Take tsunami warnings seriously because they are so unpredictable. Earthquakes or volcanic eruptions don't always cause tsunamis, but it's when people ignore warnings or assume the danger has passed that things go horribly wrong. I think anyone who can remember the 2004 Bali tsunami would rightly freak out when hearing a tsunami warning. Today I fucked up by carrying a car battery in my backpack. So my car battery's been acting up a bit lately, having trouble starting and needing my roommate to jumpstart it every once in a while. Eventually I decided enough was enough. These things generally last 3 years and it's been around that long, so I figured I'd replace it. The removal went all right. The YouTube tutorials I found were of little help since they were apparently for a slightly different model of my car or something, but I eventually finagled it out with a couple wrenches. At this point my self-confidence is pretty good. I've never been particularly handy, so this is a bit of an accomplishment for me. I should have enjoyed the feeling while it lasted. The next step was to get it to Walmart for a rebate. Says on the battery I can turn it in there to recycle. Only problem is this is a heavy-ass battery, and I can't exactly drive it all the way there since my car is, lacking a battery at the moment. So I throw it into my backpack, and head down to the local train station, which is a fair distance away but walkable. And things go alright, all things considering. My back is aching trying to carry this thing in a backpack over a 15-minute walk, but I survive. I make it onto the train, get off at the stop, and lug it the rest of the way to the Walmart, feeling sore but otherwise fine. It takes a while to find a replacement as it turns out. The manufacturer has changed the batteries around slightly in the 3 years since it was originally purchased, and it's a bit of a headache to find a close enough replacement, but I don't pay it much mind as I put it into my backpack. After all, it's the same size and voltage. How different could it be? Somehow it takes me until I'm on the train back to notice anything amiss. Putting my backpack onto the seat next to me, I notice the battery has torn a hole right through the bottom. Sucks to be sure, but that backpack was old, and this thing is heavy with pretty sharp corners. Just gotta get this back to my place somehow, and then my hand comes away sticky, and I notice the fluid pooling up on the seat, and the wet spot on my lower back. Fuck, I think, they gave me a defective battery and it's leaking everywhere. Thus, cradling the torn, dripping remains of my backpack and the battery as best I can, I hurry out at the next stop and get a lift back to the store, reasoning that I certainly won't be able to deal with the 10-minute walk from the station to the Walmart with a busted backpack and battery dribbling all over me. After some difficulty figuring out the pickup location, I get into the car and cradle the dripping pack in my lap, thinking that I don't want to get this guy's car seat too dirty. Bad move, as it turns out, because in short order my crotch starts feeling rather uncomfy, and I remember a rather important fact about car batteries. They're full of sulfuric acid. Doing my best to ignore the steadily growing burning sensation throughout most of my lap region on the way over, I thank the driver and get out in the store parking lot to return the battery. I put the battery in a cart and toss my backpack, which at this point has been utterly ruined, into a nearby trash can. The employees at the return desk are apologetic after hearing that my battery started leaking right after I bought it, and give me a gift card with the value of the battery on it. At this point, though, I can't really think too much about rebates, and I hurry on over to the bathroom to hopefully make some attempt at cleaning myself up. On the way, a lady says to me, "Happy New Year to you, God bless," and based on my badly stained shirt and hands, as well as my generally disheveled look at this point, I'm pretty sure she thought I was homeless. Anyway, after a muttered, "You too," to the lady, I'm in a bathroom stall, doing my best to remove the acid soaking my pants and underwear with paper towels, looking for all the world like I've just wet myself. In hindsight, I was in a Walmart, and they sell clothes, so I probably should have just bought a change of clothes there, but I wasn't thinking straight and wasn't in the mood to deal with the logistics of how to change into clothes and also buy them. Instead I just turned my underwear around so my junk wouldn't be exposed to any further lingering acid, washed my hands thoroughly, and decided to grin and bear it until I could change back home. I buy a new battery and a new backpack. Just as I put the battery into the backpack, however, I have a sudden hypothesis. Taking the battery back out, I put it onto the sidewalk outside and turn it on its side, the same way I had oriented the previous battery to fit it in my backpack, the same way I was about to carry this new one. Sure enough, a bit of acid begins dripping from the area near the negative terminal. A quick Google confirms that some car batteries have vents along the top that can leak sulfuric acid if you don't carry them upright. And this, but not my old battery, I guess, was apparently one of them. My last battery wasn't defective, I had just been carrying it the wrong way up, and I had suffered the consequences. Thus humbled, I keep this new battery outside of my backpack and get another lift back to my place. My phone is at around 4% battery at this juncture, so it can stay upright on the way back. The ride is uncomfortable, to say the least, since a significant portion of my clothing and skin is still covered in acid, and with traffic I'm in there around 40 minutes before finally making it home. I drop the battery next to my car, rush into the apartment, disrobe, and take a thorough shower before putting on fresh clothes. Thankfully, the acid didn't burn me too badly, though there's still a fair bit of pain and irritation. I still haven't put in the battery yet, since after all that I just didn't have the energy, but I will try tomorrow morning and I sincerely fucking hope it works. Too long did not read. I carried a new car battery sideways in my backpack not knowing that it would leak out of the vents on the top. Ended up ruining my backpack and soaking my crotch in sulfuric acid. Edit. To those of you saying this is clearly fake, because the acid didn't immediately melt my flesh or I didn't take a course of action that was clearly obvious to you or whatever else, I fucking wish. As I said elsewhere, I'd much rather this never happened. Maybe the battery was uncharged. Maybe it was just more dilute than usual for some reason, I don't know. I have a lot of things I do when I'm bored, and making up random bullshit on Reddit isn't one of them. Seriously, if I were writing a work of fiction I wouldn't make it nearly this dumb, lol. As for those recommending medical attention, I appreciate the concern. I am, in fact, in the US, and also a broke 25-year-old, for that one guy curious about my age. There you go. So I'd prefer to avoid the hospital if at all possible, and everything so far indicates the acid was fortunately on the mild side, but I'll definitely head there if things worsen. It probably won't happen given I washed it off, but knock on wood. Also, for those commenting, hey, did you consider just driving it to the Walmart and No, I didn't. But did you know that it's much simpler to Yes, I do now. I'm so glad you and the other 50 people commenting the exact same thing are there to be smarter than past me in a "Today I fucked up" post. For real, though, I appreciate the advice for future situations. Just it gets kinda tiring when the same advice gets repeated by dozens of people, sometimes in less than polite terms. Meanwhile, for an update. It's now the next day, my burns haven't suddenly started eating into my flesh or anything, so I should be in the clear. I put in the battery and, against all odds, it worked. My car starts now, no jump necessary. At least all this awfulness wasn't for nothing, and the story has a happy-ish ending. I'll definitely take this as a learning experience, haha. Keep an eye on the burns. I don't know if sulfuric acid burns are one of those things that are actually worse than they seem at first. Chemical burns are no joke. Moral of the story. Drive the car to Walmart with defective battery. Remove battery in Walmart car park. Rebate and purchase new battery. Install new battery in car park. Just for future reference, automobile batteries are very volatile and can blow up. They should always be upright, and you're lucky that the water mixed with that sulfuric acid didn't cross the two terminals together, and I think you get the point. Next time I would consider jumping off the car, drive it to Walmart, remove the battery in the parking lot, put it in a buggy and so forth. That would eliminate most of the danger. I don't know with how much sulfuric acid you came in contact, but you should probably seek medical advice, especially since you didn't clean it immediately and only in a washroom. Sulfuric acid causes irreparable damage to the whole skin. Props on taking the time to learn and do the job yourself. But for future reference, if you go to pretty much any auto parts store, they will swap the battery out for you with purchase. Walmart is usually a bit cheaper though, so I get that. Why didn't you get your friend to give you a jump and drive to Walmart? Then take out the battery, go in for the new one, come out and replace. Then also, if maybe it wasn't your battery that was the problem, you would at least have a mechanic right there or someone possibly walking by that might know what is going on. You got yourself into a very dangerous situation. Knowledge is power and ignorance is certainly not bliss. Fuck me, there's no way that all actually happened. Tears of joy rolling on the floor laughing. Quick question. Why not drive to Walmart, remove battery, carry it inside, return to car with new battery, install it and drive home? 1. Buy the battery first, then return the old one. It's not a rebate, it's a core charge. Most car parts that you buy at the parts store have one. You get an immediate refund of the difference. Like, buy a water pump for $225 but the core is $15, so return the old one and your net is $210. That sort of thing. 2. Batteries have vents. Don't put them on their side. They're called sealed batteries, but not always. 3. Keep an eye on sulfuric acid burns. They don't show up right away. Once you're burned, the skin will be tender and thin. Keep this in mind. It'll likely heal up on its own. My wife has had several burns from H2SO4 and they do heal up, but they leave a bit of a scar and sensitive skin. 4. Good job learning a new skill.